Okay, I think we'll start. Hi all, and welcome to this month's webinar. Today's topic is a good mix of open, as in open BIM, open API, access to data, and flexibility. In Rendra, we believe in data and not so much in documents, and we believe that you as a user and customer should be able to use your data as you wish. And you shouldn't be held back by software limitations to do your work. StreamBIM has a data-centric approach, so we have opened up for you to take advantage of our APIs the way you feel is best for you. I'm happy to announce today's presenter. He has done some pretty impressive adjustments to StreamBIM so he can work smarter. Before you introduce yourself, Jonathan, I just wanted to give you all the heads up that the chat is deactivated. So if you have any questions, please write them in the Q&A section, and we will answer them after the webinar. Okay, thank you for being with us today, Jonathan. I'll give you the screen now.
Thanks. So I'll start to share my screen. There we go. You should see my screen, right? Yeah, my name is Jonatan Jacobsson. I live in the northern part of Sweden. The image you see on the left is me when I'm at peace, and the camera is me at work. I work as a BIM coordinator and strategies around that. But I also have a passion for development and programming and stuff. So that's close to heart. I've been working as a web developer before I was an engineer, so that definitely helps. But it feels like I'm going full circle right now with that stuff. Thank you for spending this half hour with me and Kato. So, don't forget to write down your questions, and then we'll take them in the after this half an hour. I hope to bring you some energy and inspiration this afternoon here. So what we're going to talk about today? Yeah, we're going to talk about some widgets in StreamBIM. We're going to talk about how I used generative AI as a booster for me, a real booster. Of course, some live demos. What you need to get started if you're interested in this stuff. A little bit about StreamBIM's ecosystem, how I look at it as a BIM coordinator, a strategist, and then we'll have time for questions later. A fair warning should be noticed. This will be very technical to some degree. We're going to have a lot of three-letter acronyms in this meeting. But I want to show you today what you can do when your CD is so flexible it can do stuff beyond what Rendra in this case imagined. But I hope it will be quite inspirational anyway. But I mean, since you joined this meeting on this subject, you knew what you were getting into, right? So I would like you to prepare yourself for this half an hour. This is a safe space, free from the troubles of the projects, free from the tyranny of old habits. If you've been sitting down all morning here, stand up and get that blood pumping through your mind, so you're ready for what you're about to learn here. So what's a widget in StreamBIM? They've, as Kato mentioned here, StreamBIM has a really open platform. It allows you to do a lot of stuff, like even within the core platform and core capture module and stuff, and the checklists. It's really flexible and powerful as them standing by themselves. But since StreamBIM have basically an API first approach to the whole platform, you can integrate StreamBIM into and do a lot of fun stuff with StreamBIM. And one of those things are widgets. Just a heads up, this will not be like a crash course into StreamBIM, the core functionality of StreamBIM. This will be a deep dive into some of the stuff that you can do. But widgets in StreamBIM is a way for you to integrate your own web page and embed that into the StreamBIM viewer. And of course, the StreamBIM viewer is not only available like on the web, as some of you may be sitting on your computers. StreamBIM is, of course, also accessible on iPads and phones. So widgets will also be available there for like on-site use and stuff. But these widgets are basically extensions to StreamBIM where you can inject or embed code and like websites to do what you need to do. So what we're gonna show a small tech demo of what you can do using in this widget environment, using the example that Rendra has provided that's available on GitHub. The QR code you see here to the left is a link to that site, but you'll get some resource links by following the recording that Koto will send out. So I'm gonna switch my screen and welcome you to my BIM model of my house, at least when we're finished. We're gonna show you the tech demo that StreamBIM has on their GitHub. They have a demo here that you can play with if you like. So this part, what you see here, all that, we're gonna test that out now. So this is the part where you see here to the left, the screen. All of this part is a widget, and it's embedded from a web server or a static page anywhere you like. But what you can do with this StreamBIM widget is that we have a few like base functionalities that the developers at StreamBIM has prepared. Like if you can get the project ID that I'm currently sitting in, the user that's logged in. If I click on an element here, if I click on the roof here, I can get that information on that roof, on specific elements, but I can also get data for like all of the roofs if I want. If I want to move that data that we have here, all of that stuff, if I need to move that into this widget part, like we can do that with the APIs. We can highlight stuff. We can color element in the viewer. From this widget, we can initiate that coloring here. So if you have another data source or something that you want to color by, or in like color the IC elements based on something, we can do that from the API. You can take screenshots if you'd like. If you want to send this to some AI or something for classifications or renderings or stuff, yeah, you can do that. So all of this part is available on GitHub if you'd like to play with it. The way you deploy this is that you ask StreamBIM chat to be whitelisted for the widgets, but it's really easy. So yeah, that's the tech demo here. Just to get your mind a bit going here. But just a little bit about generative AI. I mean, it doesn't have to be. The development of this is, of course, a bit advanced for some users or some people, but you can use generative AI and the services available like for free, and you don't have to do a lot of prompt engineering or prompting to get something like the widget demo up. A lot of the code that you have seen, like the widgets that you've seen today, have been co-authored by AI. So I feel like I can't really take responsibility for everything, because the AI stuff right now is so powerful at programming. So I welcome you to try some of the GPTs out there for web development to get the demo from StreamBIM up and running and get going with it. But we're gonna see some more interesting demos as well today. We're gonna see 3 variants of this. The first one, which I would like to call bring your own data and to StreamBIM and then view that data in the widgets. I feel like I have to have some kind of dashboard as well, but that's more to show that you can do stuff with the data that's already on StreamBIM and present that in maybe another way. And maybe you don't want to use Power BI. We're also going to show you a bit on how you could use external APIs as well, and have that widget that you created as a middleman between StreamBIM and that external API to enhance even further this. So we're gonna go right into those demos, and the first one is gonna be something about something that we in Sweden called teknisk beskrivning. This is basically some, maybe you have some other documents in your construction document set that has a few PDFs or a Word document this, explaining how some of these systems go together on site. So we created a widget for that. So to be able to read this descriptions, technical descriptions alongside of your model, or in the context of the model. So all of this are of course accessible on the iPads in the on-site. So you can read the more technical descriptions that are maybe not fit to put inside the IFCs. So this is basically as a read. All of the pages that are like the description that have been saved or created by the consultants are uploaded to StreamBIM as .html files instead of like Word or PDFs. And we can render those in this widget, that HTML text here. But this would be a little bit lame, so I did some interactivity between the viewer part and this widget, which when you click on the elements, a few properties appear as buttons on the top. So you can click, let's say this one, this electrical outlet here, and you can jump to that part, basically like a jump to the most matching header or title in this document. So this is like a quick jump to what the documents contains on this element. So that's one widget we created, where we have bring in this bring your own data category, but that we've uploaded some documents, but we want to have them side by side with the 3D model and the drawings as well, as you can see there to the right. Yeah, so that's one. But I know some of you came to this for the IDS part as well. And maybe the easiest way to wrap your head around IDS as a way of working is that it's basically clash control for data. When you have clash control, we clash elements, and then we see who's clashing and what category are they in, like to coordinate about that. But with IDS, we basically clash the information in these models against the project requirements. So in this case, what you're seeing here to the left is the validation results from IDS validation, where you see that the architects in this case have reached 93% of the requirements that they've signed up to when they started the project. So a way, I'm going to show you like a small workflow just to see how this works. So we download the files from StreamBIM. You can do this manually, or you can sync home these IFC files, and we validate them with IDS and with Python scripts and a library called IFC tester. And we upload the results from that validation. This is basically clash section results, but it's about data. And then we upload it to StreamBIM, and that JSON file is then accessible on this widget, and we render that information in a more readable format. So what the user can do in this case, in this case, the architect, they can dig into what elements are missing the data, or like what they should be doing or inputting into their IFC models. And we added a button to if you want to get the ID of the elements. So if you click on this, you get a small, or like the ID of that object, in this case in ArchiCAD. So you can dig down to find that matching object inside the ArchiCAD in this case. This gives the consultants finally a way to see what the project requirements are, and like give them tools that they can follow. I came up with this widget, or created it when we were supposed to do quantity takeoffs in the project, and I needed some way to get them all aligned to the project requirements, so we can do this these quantity takeoffs efficiently and accurately from the model. So this was all put up in like a month using ChatGPT. So I mean, if I can do this, I bet some of you can as well. But we're essentially showing these JSON data, printing them and rendering them on the web, and makes it available for all of the project members, really, not only the consultants or like the engineers in this case, also the like contractors and project managers, that they can follow and see the progress on these models. So it also creates trust on this data when you're using IDS to validate. If you want to learn more about IDS, you'll get resources in the recording as well to get going with that. There's a wonderful YouTube channel out there, of course, and I'll link some documentation as well. Okay, so that's one widget, but when we created this, we also realized, can't we do this for clash results as well? Yeah, you could, it turns out. So there's also open source tools, as IDS is an open source tool to validate for data. We can also do clash management, it turns out. So this was more like a bonus where we use the same widget and we print the clash results as well. So this is a UI, also the same workflow that we download the files, we do clash detection on them, we upload the clash results as JSON, and we print them in another format. So in this case, you can see all of the clashes that we have in StreamBIM IFC models between, let's say, architects and the structural model here. So here we can see and dig down to like have the consultant dig down and see what we're seeing. We're missing a void here for that stuff. So this gives them a tool also to see to see clashes, and all of this can be automated and scripted. So me as a BIM coordinator, maybe I should do BIM coordination and clashes as well. But this gives them a tool to do stuff beforehand, before I'm gonna do some issues for them and shout at them at meetings. I'll not shout, talk to them politely. So this is the widget, and together with the widget from StreamBIM, open source tools, you can do a lot of fun stuff when your CD supports open workflows. So that was the IDS and clashes and this technical documentation thingy. We also have another one that I'm going to show you here. For the external APIs part. I'll update this. For if you want to do dashboards inside these widgets with the data coming from StreamBIM. So this is a small example on where that we use the widget API to find all of the spaces in our model. In this case, my home. We color all of these spaces in StreamBIM Viewer, and we can get all of the data from StreamBIM into this widget part, where we can present that data in some standard JavaScript charts, basically, or like Plotly is another one that you use. And I mean, you could do this. You do a lot of stuff as well. I mean, this is for rooms. You can do this for other stuff as well. Piping, of course, wall areas or stuff. If you want to do quantity takeoffs or like plot them here, yeah, you can do that if you want. If you ask like a web developer, this is bread and butter for them. So if you have people like IT or web development staff, I mean, they can point you in the right direction for this, for sure. So that's the dashboard. I won't bore you with more dashboards. The last thing would be a widget demo on external APIs. So this one is when you use your widgets as a middleman between StreamBIM and your external API. So from StreamBIM, you can color on when you open this. You can color on stuff. Color on some codes. Maybe you have some classification codes or product data or something that you want to match. We get all of the codes here from StreamBIM, throw them into our widget here, and then we ask our widget, hey, go fetch data here. That number, look at our external APIs somewhere else, and return the results from that. So in this field, we have, now this is a demo, but we have another one. Another project that we have live data on these in this case it's ID numbers for a service in Sweden called Byggvarubedömningen, which it's basically a database online where you can see what products are like okay to use, or it's like a page where you can see recommended products to use, like environmentally or other classification systems. So in this case, we can use that as a tool to see. Okay, so they've asked for a few windows here, but these product numbers should be avoided. Maybe we should check that out. So this data doesn't usually, when you have a BIM guy like me asking for this kind of data, you want them to put this into the model itself, the like supplier, where to buy this, if it's okay to use. Maybe you want to have that in your IC, but in this case, in StreamBIM case, you don't really have to. You can have them to only input some IDs and use an external API to and this widget to embed the data from external APIs in the StreamBIM environment, and use that as a basis for decisions, really. So that's using external APIs. Of course, these IDs you could put some other open API system as well. But this is one example that they have from our projects. Yeah, so I think that's going to be enough. I'm going to jump back to my presentation here. So just to back up a bit, basically every button click in StreamBIM is an API call. Maybe I'll say that again. Every button in StreamBIM is an API call. If you start to think about StreamBIM like that, a lot of interesting opportunities arise. StreamBIM is already an open platform where you can do that. They have, I mean, of course, they use IFCs. StreamBIM is in itself a BCF server that uses these issues that you can send from Solibri and get them from other sources as well, and use them in BIM tools and stuff to coordinate effectively. But you can also use this API to upload documents from some other place. You can set labels if you want. You can download files, of course. You can trigger the processing that StreamBIM does using APIs. And I think one thing that people are sleeping on when using StreamBIM APIs is that you can actually set checklist items in StreamBIM using the API, which is basically an input data field for IFC files in the cloud, which is pretty cool in itself. But please proceed responsibly. Yeah, what you need to get started. The left QR code is the widget API from StreamBIM, available on GitHub. If you're new to code editors, here's a few that you could try out. I would suggest that you really check out some of the LLM tools or AI tools to code and learn to prompt efficiently. It's amazing when you get going with this. Point on widgets. Some of these make sense to have on a web server, but some don't. You don't really have to have on a web server. The IDS part and the Clash that you've seen today are static web pages. So they do not require processing for having them on internet. So there's not a lot of server setups and frightening stuff like that. And if when you have your widget that you want to try out in StreamBIM, as a team at Rendra or StreamBIM to whitelist these widgets for your projects, it's you have to do it on a project by project basis. And you'll get some resources to get going with the recording as well. Just a reminder. The last slide here for today is from Rendra. It's an image of what they want to be as an ecosystem. They already have other widgets as well from other sources. Drofus is an amazing example of this. They have Holla Builder, which is like a 360 image page or service. Of course, you can read BCF files back and forth with StreamBIM. There's plans for plugins to BIM tools as well, and a lot of integrations for other document platforms like SharePoint and other ones. Also for Autodesk Construction Cloud, which helps a lot for our projects. StreamBIM wants to be an open platform where you can do you can use StreamBIM for a multitude of ways. You're not limited by software in this case, I would say. So StreamBIM is an example of what I would consider to be next-gen CDEs in a way, because how open they are and how all of this the service is set up. That you can upload data if you want. You can download them at any time, automatically or scripted at scale if you want, which really should be a benchmark for a lot of CDs. Can you download your documents and move to another place if you'd like, if you have to, in a few years or so? If you can do that automated, that should be a benchmark for CDs. It's not, but it should. But once you get into StreamBIM, I don't think you're going to want to leave. But StreamBIM won't lock you in. So that should be a benchmark. Yeah. I mean, StreamBIM gives you powers to work in a variety of ways, but proceed with using the APIs responsibly. Maybe that's my last point for today. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Jonatan. Fantastic to see what you have done. Is there any questions? As I mentioned earlier, the chat is disabled, but you can ask questions in the Q&A. So now's the time. We have one from Victor. Did ChatGPT receive StreamBIM API as a part of prompt?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when I got started with this, I essentially dumped in all of the HTML code from the example on GitHub, and asked them to ask GPT to get me going with this. And like yeah, a few days later, I had this up and running in a project in StreamBIM. I mean, it was a lot of prompts though. I mean, but yeah, it's definitely helps to have some of these LLMs. It feels like you have a complete team around you developing.
Yeah, because we have to remember you are not a developer. You're an engineer with some hobbies, and you did this in the weekends. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, not in a weekend, but of course on the weekends. So Victor, you just copy pasted some documentation to a browser. What did you train the model? No, I did not train any model for getting a widget. But yeah, the LLMs are incredible, or reading a lot of code, and if you ask the right questions, you will get a bit on the way, and then something is an error, and you put that error code into LLM, and then you move forward. So it's definitely an iterative process, creating code for yeah, using this ChatGPT stuff as well.
We have another question from Victor. What programs do you use to create JSON rule sets for data validation and crash control?
What programs do you use to create? Yeah, for data validation, there's a tool called Akka software. Yeah, and it's a really easy tool to get going with creating IDS rule sets or validation specifications. So I would recommend that. I'm gonna have it listed, Victor, on the resources you'll get afterwards. So I started there, but I ended up doing a lot of that rule sets and validation using just XML later on.
Yeah,
but you'll get a good template.
Sorry, we have one more question. Using Python and IFC OpenShell, do you have to define the IDS file itself?
Yeah, that's what you do. So I'll show you how it looks. What's really what you really do when in this IDS checker. If you wanted to run it as a programmer or hacker like me, you run this in a console where you say IFC test run that, and you give them your IDS file and your IDS. If you run this, it outputs a response just in the terminal. But if you want to send that to some other format, you can use some extension here, where you essentially get an HTML file for the results. So, but what we do instead of this HTML and this part, we instead use JSON as well instead. So you'll get this link as well. This is how you install it. Yeah, hope that answers your question.
Okay, I see we are on overtime. I think we'll take the weekend for some of us. I'm not going to take weekend right yet, but some of you maybe will do that. So take one more question in the end. Is it possible to simply put numbers on specific construction parts and take them out in Excel list quantities, list where they end up in the right number? For example, wooden door 10 times 21 equals 4,500.
I'm reading here as well.
Yeah.
Maybe I can. If you can send that question in the on email, and then we can go back and forth there. I don't really get the question, but if you send me an email, we'll look it up.
Can we upload many IDS files at once by one click, or do we need to upload all IDS files one by one?
Yeah, we have all of this scripted, so all of the downloading, the validation, and the uploading. So it's for us, it's an automated process. But when we upload, it's basically drag and drop into StreamBIM, just by code. So you can definitely do one by one if you want. But the way IDS reporter works is that you run this on an IFC, by IFC. So you do them one at a time. So you get a JSON file one at a time as well.
What I can say, it's kind of a secret, but I'll share it anyway.
Yeah.
We have in development, we have a IDS checker already. It's not released, and I don't know when it's going to be released, but we have tested it, and it's quite easy. You just upload the IDS file into StreamBIM, and it checks your model automatically.
Yeah.
So we're
I forgot to mention that, Kato, but yeah.
yeah, you've seen it, but yeah. So that was a little.
I just couldn't wait around. I needed that that month. I couldn't wait around, so we created a widget instead.
So in the near future, we'll have this made for you, so you don't need to hack it like Jonatan. All right, I think we'll stop right now, and thank you all for joining us. And if you have any more questions, just send me or Jonatan email, and we'll answer it.
Yeah, thanks everyone.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.